As you know, everything here is a service. Router as a service, network gateway as a NSG as a network security group as a service. So here firewall also has service. So theoretical part I have already covered that time. Again, just give small brief and then directly we'll go to practicals. Okay, because this is a huge practical. Don't waste time here because already theory part covered. But for your information, just recap. So let's say
one thing, Siddhartha, you started recording?
yeah, recording started.
Okay.
Recording. So generally, what exactly our scenario? Let's say this is one of the virtual machine and company taking RDP from where? From the on premises over the internet. So every time it is connecting through internet, and even not only that, system also getting output through internet. But new requirement come, he's telling that I cannot send this virtual machine over the internet directly. That means I cannot take RDP to the virtual machine by default port 3389 over the internet. What is telling? One should do MSTSC on the public IP to the virtual machine. It definitely will be go through the firewall. So it would be like this. It will go to the firewall. From firewall with the port of 7443 instead of RDP 3389. So instead of this port, from there it will translate to the virtual machine, network address translation to the virtual machine actual IP address with by default port 3389. So what exactly I am hiding? I am hiding virtual machine IP and virtual machine port. These things I am hiding. And not only that, even this is also a public interface. Public interface. Got my point? So in between these things, there is also a middle interface, that is route table. Because route table concept I already told you in the last video that during route table, did you remember? We have taken one MSTSC, one of the application that we have enabled the web interface and all those stuff, but I will tell them that should be go through the virtual appliances. Did you remember that time, that practicals? But that practical was we have done through the internal IP, but here everything is done through the practically on public IP. Clear? Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear?
Yes, through public IP.
Gloria, clear?
Yes.
Now in order to make this infrastructure, generally we will take a one block subnet, and the subnet size was around, let's say, 10.0.1 let's say 10.0.0.0/16. 16, why 16? Because if I take 24, then I do not have any option to split it. That's why I'm taking 16 for a large network operation. Okay, and inside I will create two different network, one for default which I will use for virtual machine, another for I will use for firewall. Clear? Another I will use for firewall. So virtual machine subnet will be default subnet, and IP will be 10.0.1.0/24, and firewall will be 2.0/24. Clear? Here in route table we will assign internet address. Can anybody tell me what is the internet address? if I let's say filter out internet traffic, which IP address should I assign? Do you have anyone know what will be the internet traffic address? Answer is no. Here that's what we will filter out the traffic 0.0.0.0/0. That is our internet traffic. Got my point? Did you ever heard previous? Tell me. This is a new thing, right?
Internet traffic.
Internet traffic. If you want to block or filterize anything with which is coming through internet, this is the actual IP address 10.0.0.0/0. Got it?
Then instead of this, we can use star also, right?
No. Star is different. Star concept is different, brother. I'm telling you internet filtering traffic. The star you are using, that means anything either before or either after. Basically that is using for firewall rule or proxy addressing. Got my point?
This is for internet, like all the traffic from internet, 0.0.0.
Exactly. Actually, we consider public DNS means 0.0.0.0. Got my point? So that we are trying to block. Public DNS, that means our internet DNS is always 0.0.0.0.0. Got my point? Let's go to the Azure portal. So here, first things, we'll create one resource group.
Then one small question. Actually, I got an interview and I made one mistake. I was asked, like, apart from 443, okay, like if 443 is in use, like we can use 7443, right? The alternative for this one, for client, right? For web applications and anything. So apart from that, do we have anything else like 8443, anything like that?
What exactly your question?
The port number combination.
Port 443, do you know which purpose this is used? 443 is for SSL. HTTPS port is 443 and it is using for SSL certificate or internet, secure internet traffic, that's it.
Okay.
Gopal, please learn. These things are common. Easy question, you have missed it.
Okay.
So RG1 is my group resource group name and I'm creating on East US. After doing this, go for virtual machine. Root admin. Okay. In networking part is very important. Everyone, I'm telling you, the networking part is very important. So do one thing, click on create here. So here what you need to do, that is your 10.10.10.1. I am in default, I am creating, this is my IP address, that is 1. Okay, that is default. Clear? See that it is also change. It is also change. Click on create. Okay, so VM created successfully. Let's check if you are able to take the VM over remote or not. So you are able to take RDP. How come you are reach the VM directly, normal, without any restriction? It is very risk. Privately, let's say I understood in your organization do not have the dedicated VPN. You want to take the VM directly through on premises. Is it very risky? Now instead I'm doing this firewall service. So now what we can do, again I'm going to virtual networks that I've created. Inside that subnets, got my point? There was a default subnet. So create another subnet, that is firewall, and that is for 2. Clear? That's things. So in this subnet you have a 250 machine. In this subnet you have a 251 IP available. Clear? Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. And what is their address space? Simple, 10.0.0.016. In this entire block there is two subnet. One is 10.0.1.0 using for my virtual machine networks, and 10.0.2.0 will be used by Azure Firewall. Clear? So in this case, after what you need to do, we'll first create the firewall. Right click, please create. So you have to select the resource group, my FLL, my FLS, region East US, so I'm taking normal standard basic firewall or standard firewall, standard policy. FLS. Virtual network address is public IP address. We have to take PIP.
और I think वो specific नाम से करना पड़ेगा Azure Firewall subnet को.
Or yes, let's do that. Azure Firewall subnet. Okay, fine. Azure Firewall subnet. The virtual network must have a subnet name Azure Firewall subnet. Azure Firewall subnet. Okay, so in that case what we can do, again go to the virtual machine, NIC card, subnet, Azure Firewall subnet, right? Just a
Yes,
minute.
sir.
Let's go to the firewall again.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my
হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ বলছি, তুমি কি না, তুমি কি আজকে যাবে? যদি যাও আমাকে তাহলে একটু ওখান থেকে গিয়ে ফোন করবে। ঠিক আছে। Okay, so my deployment is completed successfully. So go to resources. Okay, this is our actually firewall. Okay, fine. So many things that is introduced. Uh, Actually, we need na basic firewall. This is advanced things. It is not required, I guess. But do one thing. We just delete this. This thing is quite advanced. It is not required for this practical. Definitely, we will learn advanced things is next practical we understood. But this for this practical we need a basic firewall.
Okay, let's wait for 5 to 6 minutes it will take to create or delete firewall service, because actually everyday service or new services invented, new module entered it, so sometimes it's very difficult to manage all those stuff. So best option to go with basic firewall. Yes, same has been deleted. So once it is deleted, it is also refresh our subnet as well. Okay, fine. Let's click on create resource group. You will select RG1. Firewall name is my APS. Availability on whatever it is. Basic. I'm choose the basic. Okay. So firewall policy basic plan. So click on add. Virtual network, create new one, existing one. Which one? VMnet. The force tunneling require this virtual network have a subnet name Azure Firewall service. So who's join? So here virtual network we have already created existing. Azure tunneling required this virtual network have a subnet name Azure Firewall. Acha, it will be different. Okay, Azure Firewall management subnet. Azure Firewall management subnet. Azure Firewall management subnet. Or if I let's say standard basic, based on the basic. Okay, do one thing. Let's go to the firewall. Sorry, network. Go to the subnet. Delete this subnet. 10 10.
Fine. Next, then again back to firewall. RG1 name my APS region is to US, availability is on whatever it is. Premium basic will sit with the basic one. Firewall policy, add new policy, NM basic, whatever name you can give, not a problem. Sorry. Okay. Existing. This virtual network must have subnet name Azure Firewall subnet. Again same problem. Azure Firewall subnet. Leave it. I just created another portal. Hold on. Azure Firewall subnet. Azure Firewall subnet. Azure Firewall subnet. Okay, fine. These things firewall deployment completed successfully. But before we touch the firewall, what we can do, we'll create the route table. Got my point? We will create a route table. So in that case, let's go to the route table, click on create. Resource name is RG1 and region east US, my route. Same option will be there, review and create. Okay, now go to resource. After that, we will go to route. So before create the route, let's wait for some time, because as you know, the some services running very late. Okay, so wait for some time. The first name is route 1, destination is IP address, destination IP address of CIDR is 0.0.0 0.0.0.0 slash 20, sorry, slash 0. Got my point? Next hop is also be virtual appliances, and this is your firewall. This is your firewall IP address. Which IP address? Let's open firewall. Firewall private IP address. Not private, it's actually let's open the firewall here.
Dada, it will be firewall's public address, right? Because we have to transfer
Firewall,
all the traffic from
firewall private IP actually. This is one I have to copy.
private.
After that, click on add. So after some successfully, you can see that route 1 is created successfully with this IP address, and next hop address is your firewall route. Next, what we cannot to do, we will do the subnet. Subnet for what? The default subnet of your virtual machine. What is my default? I just assigned. Now I'm expecting that I will not be able to take the virtual machine over remote now. Now I will not take the virtual machine because this route is created successfully. Now my what happened? My virtual machine will be directly traffic go to firewall. Got my point? Router is forwarding the traffic to the firewall. So if I go to here, go to virtual machine, take their private IP address. Yes, this time traffic it's not going to virtual machine. It is through Azure router. It is redirecting to firewall. Ah, so when the machine was created, I told you that time. Let's take the virtual machine where we have taken that virtual machine remote, but this time it is going through Azure firewall. That's why we are not getting the IP address through firewall. Clear? Got my point? Now what are the things we need to do? We will create route in firewall, policy. So let's wait for couple of minutes because everything here running is very late. So let's wait for couple of minutes. Okay, so now here see, generally these are the rules you have to create in firewall manager, because in premium firewall these are the things are required. First thing is public IP configuration that you already did. Second thing is LAN SNAT IP preference, that is the different things. This is for the firewall replication, disable on firewall policy or something else, anything you manage that only. Route server change anything, filtering IP prefix. So here we will go to firewall manager, a central security policy route management service. Yeah, create a Azure firewall policy, define rules for traffic filtering across multiple Azure firewall instances, add security virtual hubs, add security virtual networks. Azure firewall as a new existing virtual network to enforce existing firewall policy across the multiple hub and virtual network. So policy. This is for the web application firewall policy. This is for DDoS protection, security, partner protection. This is for secured virtual hubs, security, partner protection. Click on here. Virtual networks, create secure virtual network, address range. Firewall rule is missing. These are the settings are new actually. That's what. Just a minute. Let me take help from Google. Let's go to Google. Okay, so one more things we need to do it, that is we have to disable our network security groups for, because now after installing firewall NSG is not required. After installing firewall NSG is not required, so we have to delete the NSG as well. Okay, so go to networking. Here inbound port 3389 you have to delete. This rule is totally changed. This option was obsolete here. New firewall, there is an option called rules. I mean, even 2 3 months before there is an option called rules that was gone. And is not IP prefix. Address acceptor specific. Always. Apart from SNAT. Secure NAT. Yes, this is showing now. So it is basically available on basic firewall rule, not any advanced firewall rule. Okay, this thing is very important actually. So add NAT rules. So I'll make it in 101. Okay, I'm making it for 101. So here we will select for, this is for RDP, this is for RDP, got it, and source IP address, it is the source IP address. What is my source IP? Here Gopal mention either star or your public IP address. Every system there is a public IP address. Every systems you have a public IP address. Okay, how you know the public IP address? Go to Google and from there you can type my public IP, because from here you will take the MSTSC na, so you have to give the your public IP address. See, this is your public IP address, this is your system public IP address. Through this hacker will hack your system, remember.
So every time we have to change if we want to.
Sorry,
So if we want to connect like after 8 days, because this public IP address changes like in every 8 days, right?
the public IP address automatically system will change after every time. I mean, see, generally this public IP address your system provider, I mean ISP provider will allocate. Got my point? So it is fixed. So you have to assign this on your source. Protocol is TCP. Got my point?
But does the public IP address changes, right? Or it remains
Public
same?
IP
I think
address,
mine is.
that's I'm telling you now. You have to change. We have to talk with your ISP and set it permanent IP address. Ask
Yes,
for
yes,
permanent IP address. Got my point?
yeah.
Because see, this is I'm implementing not for standard solution. Every organization uses a virtual private network. I am creating this solution. Those who do not have this kind of VPN, I am restricting policy for them. Clear?
Yes, it understood.
Hmm. So destination port, any port I can use, because my intention is what to stop the hacker, confuse them about my port. So by default it's 3331 whatever it is. Instead I will do it my destination port 8080 and destination firewall PIP, public IP. Because remember one thing, I cannot connect virtual machine directly. I will connect through my firewall. So in this case I will go to the firewall, public IP. Yes, this is my firewall public IP address. Copy it, put it here. After doing this, next is translated address. Which IP address it will translate? Translated is definitely on IP address, and which here it is your virtual machine IP address. But remember, not the public address. It is your virtual machine IP address.
So here we will use virtual machines private IP address, right?
Exactly. And it should be translated port is 3389. Okay.
Yeah.
This is actually DNAT rule. DNAT means destination network translation rule. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, let's do my firewall IP address translation. That is final thing. If everything is okay, if everything is perfect, so we will take my firewall public IP address and take my virtual machine remote. Let's say same DNAT rule I have to create it here because this is a premium policy. So same things I have to create it here as well because this is a premium one. protocol, it should be TCP. Destination will be eight zero it is a firewall public IP. Again I'll go to my firewall public IP. Translated type IP address, translated address, that is my virtual machine address. G389 at make sure that your virtual machine NIC card is security groups is disabled. Yes, it is also done. Okay, yes. Now this is your NAT rule, DNAT rule you have created successfully. So click on edit. Source is your this machine, destination is your firewall IP, TCP 8080. Remember, this is the destination port. So whenever you take MSTSC, that should be colon 8080. Clear? And it will be translated to your this virtual machine 3389. 3389 is the RDP port. If I go to Google, RDP port, you can check RDP port 3389. Okay, so now what we can do, let's go to your firewall and public IP address. Now this is the you go to firewall here. Yes. Now you will.
Actually, Siddharth, what was the issue?
I'm telling you. Let me connect. So it is connecting through firewall destination NAT. Perfect. Okay. Now let's understand what I did today. First things is that generally whenever everything I'll tell you and it will clear your doubt. Gloria, is my voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think some people feel dicey what Dada did. I did not understand. Finally he told it's working. What exactly the issue and how it. Today I am going to create Azure Firewall. Azure Firewall service demonstration. Okay. The first things is Azure Firewall. What exactly trying to do it? This is a virtual machine. Let me draw the IP address. The virtual machine public address is everything I'm telling you from scratch. You will understood. Okay. The virtual machine public IP. Let me drop the virtual machine public address. .20.25.29.1. Clear? What is the virtual machine name? VM1. This is me. This is me, and I am taking MSTSC to the virtual machine from where? From my base system. Clear? From my base system over the internet. Is that clear? Over the internet I am getting here. Now what is my source IP? If wanted, nobody doesn't care what is my source IP, but I need a destination server to be connected. That is the motto, right? So I have found out my source IP. Every virtual machine, if it is internet connected, they must have one public IP. That is the public IP. You can go to Google, type what is my public IP. Definitely will have the same IP address, because this is assigned by your ISP. Gopal say it is a dynamic. Yes, it is dynamic, but if you purchase subscription from your ISP, they will give you permanent public IP for your system. Clear? Got my point? So let me draw this. So I'm connecting from this public IP address. Now what is the problem? Problem is hacker if any hacker sitting here, if any hacker is sitting here, he is observing my source IP, he is observing my destination IP and port. Which port I am connecting? Default 3389 RDP port. Right now it is a testing lab, so doesn't care, hacker can hack system or no matter. But let's say if this $1 million application database server, then what you do? Still you have access the same virtual machine, yes or no? Same, yes or no? Tell me.
No.
No.
Because
So in that case, you have to do alternatives. What alternatives? Either you have to take a VPN, which is a huge charges you have to pay your ISDN team or lease line team, or else you have to filter out, because you have to connect your virtual machine over the internet, but that should be NAT8. That means basic things you have implemented, boss. I have hide my source IP, source port, and just simple connect my systems. So what you have done, in middle you have implemented firewall. You have implemented firewall. Got my point? Clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
While you create the firewall, firewall must have two IP address. One is 10.internal address, internal IP, which is 2.0.0.2.0, and also have the external IP. What is the external IP? Let me draw it. Go to firewall, public IP address configuration. Here external IP address. Why? Obviously, one for internal communication, another for the external communication. বুঝতে পারছো তো গ্লোরিয়া? বোঝা যাচ্ছে তো?
হ্যাঁ দাদা, yes.
Okay. Now what happened? Firewall never work directly until you have to route the traffic. So in middle of that, আচ্ছা ইন্টারনেটের অপশনটা আমি মুছে দিচ্ছি, নাহলে এটা কনফিউশন ক্রিয়েট করছে, ঠিক আছে? ইয়েস, ইন্টারনেটের এটা আমি মুছে দিচ্ছি, নাহলে এই কনফিউশন ক্রিয়েট করছে। এটা বোঝা খুব দরকার আছে, খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিনিস কিন্তু। হ্যাঁ, now what happened, directly firewall doesn't have any intelligence where the traffic come, where to go. These things they have any intelligence. Simple is very dumb. So here it's required third party routing information. In this case we have created route tables. Got my point? We have created our route tables. What is the function of route tables? Routing, simple routing. Got my point? What kind of routing? That means my traffic will be reached here, he will forward it a traffic towards router, a firewall. Firewall will directly traffic to system. Now wherever, whenever I will do direct system IP from here, it will give you simple, tell you, brother, you are not allowed, so not possible. Instead you have to do MSTC on this particular IP. And not only that, instead of asking this firewall external IP, you have to give them 8080 port, because we are hiding 3389. Because if I tell my hacker my default port is 3389, he directly hacked the system. He is observing how I am doing this. So I am connecting from this source IP to this IP address. After this IP address, everything is blind. Why blind? Because from here the IP is translating to this IP and this port, which is hacker doesn't know. Now the problem I am facing during the implementation, these are the option was extra added, that was create confusion. Even last 2 months before, when I have completed one Azure batch, this option was not there. Which options? Firewall manager, there was only that rule option was there, just rules. But here so many firewall manager, all those stuffs are create chaos. Now what I did, I understood something else need to be happen. So if I do anything change, I have to go to firewall policy. Now here, which kind of policy at the time of firewall creation you are selecting, that is very important. So that's why I have deleted, I have a standard one, because you have not selected standard one, but it is showing, so I have deleted it. But remember, at the time of firewall policy creation, you have created the premium firewall, so you must do the NAT rule on premium policy, not the your basic policy. So wrongly I have created firewall rule on basic policy, that's why it's not working. আরে তুমি প্রিমিয়াম ফায়ারওয়াল নিচ্ছ, প্রিমিয়ামে তো দেবে, তুমি বেসিকে দিলে নেবে, তাই না? You understood or not? So what I did premium policy. Inside the premium policy, I do DNAT rule. What is DNAT rule? Destination NAT rules. What firewall do? Max to max firewall is do netting. So that's why I do DNAT rules here. And destination NAT rule, what I did? Simple. I just did the information. What kind of information? Source. This is what I'm trying to do it. What is for this DNAT rule? For RDP only. Fine. So I put the name RDP. What IP address? That is my system public IP address. That is my public IP address. That's IP address I've given, because this is my source. And destination what? Azure Firewall public IP address, that you know. Which port it will connected? TCP address. Okay. Destination port is 8080, right? And after that, here it is translating part started. Come on, this part. Here, as I told, it is connecting here through translating. That part is connecting here. Translated to 10.10, that is my local IP address. See, you are connecting firewall public IP. Firewall, what they do? They are translating to internal IP and default port 3389. That simple I created on DNAT rules. After that, my virtual machine is connecting. Simple. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Everyone, is that clear?
Yes, brother, clear.
Because nowadays Azure training is very difficult, because nowadays you can see a lot of trainer stop doing training because frequently changes from Microsoft, and it is very difficult. And if you do not learn, keep on learn yourself in Azure, after 2 months you will be blind. I'm telling you. After, even you don't know, Azure certification keep on module is changing, and it is very difficult for us to make people pass nowadays. That's why I'm telling you, na, if you're planning to do for Azure certification, do it now, because keep on the question patterns are changing. Maybe after 3-4 months we do not have any options to make you pass. It's very challenging nowadays. Azure is very difficult in terms of technology. Not, they keep on update without any intimation. Because I am their subscriber, I have a premium subscriptions, pay as you go subscription. They are not even sending any journal, any document to me that what kind of changes they do in which module. That is the problem happen. So every module we face this kind of problem, we will overcome and we will learn. Finally we will learn. Clear? Is that clear? Gloria, বুঝতে না পারলে বলো, আমি আবার বোঝাবো। বাট না বুঝে হ্যাঁ বলবে না। This ইজ ফায়ারওয়াল। দেখো এইসব জিনিসগুলো তো আমরা আগে পড়েছি কি, আমরা তো এডি সার্ভার নিয়ে কাজ করেছি। ফায়ারওয়াল তো নেটওয়ার্কিংয়ের পার্ট, it's a basically funda of networking. The networking guy is very much familiar with that. But trust me, in Azure, all technology tower is finished. If you have 5 technical towers, tower 1, tower 2, tower 3, tower 4, tower 5, nowadays each tower, if you have each tower 5 people, that means 5 into 5, 25 people. Nowadays it will be comes to 4 people only, so 21 people gone. Those who don't know the Azure, they gone. This is how company firing people nowadays. Did you understood? Did you see in LinkedIn lot of saying I got termination, this blah blah? Why? Just because of cloud AI. It's created huge revolution. It's called renaissance, নবজাগরণ যাকে আমরা বলি। এই ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার ম্যানেজমেন্টে নবজাগরণ ঘটিয়েছে হচ্ছে এই মাইক্রোসফট ক্লাউড। ক্লিয়ার? আমাদের ফায়ারওয়াল, সরি,
Earlier I just knew NAT, now it's DNAT, SNAT and all these things. It's so difficult.
so DNAT is destination NAT, SNAT is source NAT. Got my point?
So it's the same thing, right? It's not different. Like it's
What?
part of like
How
SNAT and DNAT part of.
How this thing same? So many module have raised, have been introduced. Is it? You are thinking it's very same? We have already spent 2 hours here to fix this part.
In NAT I know that normally you translate the IP address. Like you change the IP address. Like it translates the public to private and private to public. That is
See,
NAT.
did you remember? Did you remember in Active Directory we have a module NAT? We have converted our public internet address to local production LAN. Did you remember that practical?
Yes.
That was very
Now-
basic things.
Basic. Yeah, that was basic. Now it's DNAT, SNAT. So many.
That's not a problem. And even I'm telling you, Microsoft do not have any latest Azure book. Trust me, they do not have any latest Azure books. Neither you will get any clue from Microsoft CVT sites. It's very challenging nowadays. And that's the reason earlier when Microsoft Cloud comes into the picture, there is each, পাড়ার মোড়ে মোড়ে অ্যাজুরের টিচার, তারা এখন আর টাটা বাই বাই আর নেই কেউ মার্কেটে, ফিনিশ। তখন তো মডেল খুব সোজা ছিল, ক্লিক ক্লিক নেক্সট 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 ফিনিশ। এখন কাজ করতে গেলে ঘিলুতে থাকতে হবে মেটেরিয়াল, নাহলে মুশকিল আছে। এখন আর কোনো ট্রেনার পাবে না হাতের কাছে, পাবেই না, খুঁজে দেখো কলকাতাতেই নেই। আর থাকলেও তোমাকে ওপর ওপর করিয়ে বেরিয়ে যাবে, বুঝতেও পারবে না, মডিউল ঝেড়ে দেবে অর্ধেক মডিউল। এই যে এত দিন ধরে কোর্সটা যে তোমাদের চলছে, কত কিছু শিখছো বলো? হাউ মেনি থিংস ইউ হ্যাভ লার্ন? অলমোস্ট 39 ক্লাসেস, দ্যাট মিনস 39 আওয়ার্স ইউ হ্যাভ কমপ্লিটেড ট্রেনিং ইন অ্যাজোর। এখন অ্যাজোর রেডিতে ঢুকতে পারলাম না, এখন ফায়ারওয়ালের একটা নেক্সট পার্ট আছে, নেক্সট উইকে বলবো, ঠিক আছে? তারপরে আমরা ঢুকবো, দেখে নেবো আর কী কী মডিউল আছে, তারপরে আমরা অ্যাজোরিটিতে ঢুকবো। কারণ এই মডিউলগুলো না বললে না তোমরা ইন্টারভিউতে ফেঁসে যাবে। তোমরা ভাবছো যে আরে ভাই আর কত বলবে, অ্যাজোর ইন্টারভিউতে বসনি বলে বলছো। প্রত্যেকটা ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার সার্ভিস থেকে তোমার কোশ্চেন জিজ্ঞেস করবে, তখন তুমি বলবে যে আমি এই মডেলটা জানি না। AZ 104, AZ 303 এগুলো হচ্ছে মাইক্রোসফটের সার্টিফিকেশন কোড। এইগুলো দিয়ে এগিয়েও না, এগুলো দিয়ে কিচ্ছু যায় আসবে না, এগুলো মাইক্রোসফট সার্টিফিকেশনের জন্য বানিয়েছে। ওভারঅল যখন অ্যাজোর ইন্টারভিউ দিতে বসবে না, কি ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার, কি L1, কিচ্ছু যায় সব থেকে জিজ্ঞেস করবে। হ্যাঁ, ডেভঅপসটা আলাদা, ডেভঅপস, অ্যাজোর ডেটা লেকস, অ্যাজোর ডেভঅপস, হ্যাঁ, সিকিউরিটি এগুলো আলাদা, এগুলো থেকে জিজ্ঞেস করবে না। বাট ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার আর্কিটেক্ট সলিউশন সেম। বুঝতে পারলাম? বোঝা গেল?
Yes.
আচ্ছা।